In this video, we're going to cover the all new features that we just added in version 5.5 for Carbonite Ultra and version 6.5 for Ultrix Carbonite. Now, these two features are so good, we wanted to release an entire version and get them out as quickly as we could. Of course, we're always developing new things and more is to come, but first, let's take a look at these. The first feature we're going to talk about is the all-new shift function for MultiViewers. This is a pretty cool item that's going to allow you to link specific panels to specific MultiViewers and have it that when you hold the shift button down on your control surface or press the virtual shift button inside of the virtual panel, you'll be able to change what sources are displayed in the MultiViewer. So let's have a look at how we're doing this. All right, here we are inside. We've got our MultiViewer set up and we've got our virtual control surface. So here, the soft panel, which we added separate tabs for each of the masters, the two satellites and the third satellite or soft panel. This was so that we could have menu follows that followed each panel. But it also opened the doors for a bunch of new functionality that we wanted to introduce, including the shift multiviewer. What is this shift multiviewer? Well, when I hold that shift button down, you see that the multiviewer changes the sources that I see inside of them. So this is really helpful because I can hold down my shift key. I can see that, hey, Mini ME2 is what I want to look at, or Mini ME1. And if I select that, I'm going to see it in preview. And then, of course, I could take that to my program output. Okay, very cool, very functional. I'm sure we can already see just how great this is going to be. How do I set it up? How do I use this new feature? So let's go ahead. Let's jump in to Dashboard and start configuring. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to jump out of the virtual panel, which again, this is on port 5257. When you upgrade to version 5, you have to add the virtual panel back in on a separate port than what you'd be using for your master panel connection, which is on 5253. When we jump into the configuration menu, we're going to head over to the MultiViewer tab. You're now going to see that each MultiViewer has a new option for selecting which panel is controlling the shift function. So panel number 1 or MultiViewer number 1 is connected to the master panel or the first slot panel. And that way on my physical touch drive, if I was to hold the shift on it, that will control VP1 MultiViewer's output. But since we've given VP MultiViewer 2 over to a secondary production, a screen production, a secondary feed, that's being controlled by the soft panel in this case. Well, we've gone here to our shift panel and we've said VP2 is going to follow whatever my soft panel functionality is doing. Then we come to each one of our boxes and now you get a second set of sources to apply. If I don't want it to be different on the shifted side, I simply make it the same source as what's on the unshifted source side. Whereas on my other sources, where I may on the front side or the unshifted side wanted input 3, which is my virtual presenter. Well, on the internal side, I wanted Mini ME1. So when I held that shift key down, I would see the compositions made on Mini ME1. Obviously, you can assign anything you want to any of the boxes in the video processor MultiViewers, whereas on your I/O MultiViewers, again, you can link those to any panel that you want. But again, your sources are obviously going to be limited to the physical inputs and the physical outputs that are on the back of the production switcher in a Carbonite Ultra. Well, that's it. That's how easy it is to set up this very powerful feature that I think you're going to be able to pull in to extend the functionality of all those MultiViewers that you've got and give you that extra workflow. So let's go ahead and show how we're going to leverage this in our next feature. In this one, we've made a bunch of improvements and enhancements to ViewControl, including the fact that ViewControl can now accept its video directly in dashboard via NDI. So you no longer have to be local and keying it inside of the switcher, which is a fantastic way to do it, reduces latency. But what about if I want to run my dashboard somewhere else away from the frame? So let's jump in and see how it's working. Now we're back inside dashboard and we're running all by ourselves. We've got video coming in thanks to dashboard and its NDI capability to pull in NDI video. So basically what you're doing in this scenario is you're taking an NDI converter and you're putting SDI into that NDI converter and making it available on the network. This is also great if I'm not in the same building. What if I'm working from home? What if I'm working remotely? Or I just want to be somewhere else in the facility and still controlling it. It's also going to extend that secondary control surface one step further. So let's go ahead and look at all of the things that we've changed with ViewControl. Now off the bat, you can see that the tabs have been moved into the more modern look. So this follows the Aura flattened look and design. You still have the ability to go into the configuration and change those. One of the other things we added was we placed the full screen button nicely right up at the top, making it easy to jump into that full screen mode. As you can see, all of my video is coming in. It's coming in via NDI. Now, one of the things right off the bat is we've reordered the keyers, because obviously if this is an Ultrix Carbonite, the full MEs now have 6 keyers. So we made space for background and the keys, creating that same offset you have with a touch drive panel. You'll also notice that in the middle, we've now added the ability for you to pick which ME or mini ME this ViewControl is controlling. So this is a huge advantage for us because thanks to those multi-viewer assignments and thanks to each panel, master, and the virtual, or the 2 satellites plus the virtual being broken out, I can have 3 of these different multi-viewers because I can have different ones from each slot. So I can have a master slot on 52, 53. I can have a satellite 1 slot on 52, 55. And I can have a third one on 52, 56. And then I'm using the different multi-viewers to go with those. So that's really cool. And right now I can dynamically change and say that this one is controlling, instead of program preset ME, I've got ME2. When you do this, it's automatically going to reassign the control windows to ME2. Then you'll see that in our bus selector down the left, you got the preset or the background bus, which obviously I'm going to see that move. But if I was controlling keyers for that ME, then when I select key 1 and I assign that source, I'll see key 1 of that ME. So yeah, we're redirecting and relaying out dynamically. So that's really good. So let's go ahead and jump back to our program preset ME. So you've got your windows, so it works the same way it always has. If I highlight the program or the background bus, now anything that I tap on the screen or click with a mouse is obviously going to cut directly to the screen. Otherwise, I select the preview and then I am picking the source. Or if I had a keyer, a box, a DVE, whatever set up in my keyer, I can always come down and specifically set that keyer and select the source that I want assigned to it. Now, you'll notice we added a shift button here. So just like Shift Multiviewer, same applies here. Now, instead of just having access to these sources, you can extend it by adding to the shifted side. So here, as you can see, when I'm unshifted, whatever I touch, that's what's going to go to air. I click here on the unshifted side, and of course, I can select that source, and that's what's going to be assigned to my key 1. Or if I was on the background bus, of course, if I click on that, it's going to go directly to air. Isn't this awesome? Our ViewControl just keeps on getting better. And when you're inside of the ViewControl environment, it's super simple. You click on the settings just like you would before, being able to set up any of your tabs, give our tabs names for our groups, being able to set up the buttons for the custom controls that you've associated, and applying the icons right from the USB drive that you may have captured, just like examples I'm giving down below, where I did a capture of that layout or that shot, so that when this button is firing off this custom control, bank 627, I had captured an icon, and then I associated it with that from my media store captures. However, now when you're using an NDI layout, you'll see that the new option has been given. So you're able to pick from any NDI source that's floating around on your network, and that will be the video that you're bringing in and putting in behind your ViewControl. Okay, so obviously that's not all of it. There's still a little bit that we do inside of the configuration menu. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump out of full screen and we'll head over to our configuration. And of course, what you see here in the configuration menu is we've gone to our multi-viewer menu, and the layouts we've picked, we now have 2 additional ViewControl NDI top, ViewControl NDI bottom. So just by basically picking any of these 2 layouts, it's going to automatically redefine the layout, and it's going to make sure to put the video and the associated things there. So then you also come into the buttons themselves, and this is where you pick your source for the primary side, and then you can pick your source for the shifted side. So here I'm going to go ahead and put 17. Here we'll put 18. And you can see that it's automatically associating a source onto that shifted side. So when we go back to our ViewControl and we put it into full screen, you'll see we've gone to the flipped layout, which puts the control section towards the top instead of towards the bottom. All depends how you have it set up with a touchscreen in front of you, what makes it more functional for you. And then, of course, as you can see, when we're in the shifted side, the unshifted side, we're now seeing our sources and how we assign those. I think everybody's going to see the power and the functionality increase, what you're able to do with this, how because of this you can now send this to remote locations. I can put this on a Windows Surface tablet. There is lots and lots of functional control that you're going to get. Well, I hope you like this video. I hope you like these new features. They should be available right now over at rossvideo.com in the software downloads section. So head on over and get upgraded. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, nice thoughts, send those to switchers@rossvideo.com. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.